Hi, I'm Lisa Bonise, and this is Mind Yourself. This week, we continue my conversation with Marc Allen from where we left off last time. Marc is the founder, CEO, and publisher at New World Library, and is the man who discovered Eckhart Tolle's work and published his seminal book, The Power of Now, a book that Oprah kept on her nightstand. If you recall, Marc had told us about how he discovered what he calls success with ease as a result of an experiment he tried on himself. He decided that he wanted to live a lazy lifestyle, working when he wanted to and enjoying himself on his way to great success. Marc also told us about how to get happily published, another passion of his. We talked about the many different ways authors can be published these days, and that's where we left off. If you missed those conversations, there's a link to the recording below. We pick up today right after Marc shared with us about how authors these days need to have a platform in order to get seen, unlike the old days. He shares a little more about his success with ease concept, and we'll also talk today about the magical path, which he calls Harry Potter for grown-ups. It's a fun conversation, and Marc even offers a free downloadable meditation for you to help you embody your truly magical self. And you'll also hear Marc's cat say hello and then some along the way. Let's listen in, shall we? You're a busy guy. You've got this big company and you're doing all of these things. So how are you so easily accessible? Because you give your email address out very publicly.
Yeah.
Don't you get slammed with submissions? And how on earth do you have this lazy lifestyle with all of this going on? Because you've helped me tremendously with my most recent novel, and you answer emails like that. You're just, how do you do this?
It's all magic. I loved your novel. I read your whole novel. Now, I rarely do that, but I loved your novel. We're going to get it out one way or another. Well, part of it is I'm not busy. And people do keep saying, oh, you must be busy. Or so many people have this, they even like to say, how are you? Oh, I'm so busy. Well, you'll never hear me say I'm busy because I'm not busy. I have tons of time, like the whole rest of the day and tomorrow and Monday, I have nothing to do other than get a 2-hour Thai massage on Monday. That's my plan. And then, so I'm not busy. I've really affirmed that I'm lazy and I have a lazy lifestyle. Even in the very beginning, when I started dreaming of a successful publishing company, the image I had, and these subconscious images we have are very, very important. The image I had was the company was like a big ship just cruising along, and I'm riding on the back, or maybe the bow, or somewhere in the shade, though, on a chaise lounge with a tall drink with a little umbrella, and it's cruising on its own energy, and I'm just kicking back, enjoying the ride. Now the first 3-4 years, the subconscious image I had was I was a little tugboat pushing that big boat, pushing, and getting nowhere. Uh-huh. And I remember once I was aware of that, I thought, I got to change this image. I got to get that boat moving, get it moving subconsciously. And now I do have that image. My company cruises along. I don't even have to be there. I don't have to show up. I wouldn't. I remember the first time I took a whole month off. I took August off, went to Hawaii, and it was near the beginning. I thought, oh, can they do without me for a month? And well, it turned out they had the second best month in sales ever while I was gone. And I said, great, this ship is cruising along without me. Awesome. I don't have to show up. That's my dream.
That's fantastic. So back in the day when you were doing all of this imagining, did you also include, the courses that you're teaching, like the Success with Ease, the How to Get Happily Published, and the Magical Path, which I believe is starting another round soon. Is that
right?
Correct?
Yes. The Magical Path. Yeah, we're doing. That's a fun video course we did. I wasn't imagining this stuff because it didn't exist back when I started. Really. I just imagined publishing a book well and speaking. I love speaking, and courses. I did courses early on, live courses and things. But yeah, now it's gone online, and there's just, there's so many wonderful options for writers now and authors, especially nonfiction ones. We have a ton of our authors that are making way more from their online seminars than they are from their book sales. I mean, one of them, I was just talking to Lee Harris, who we just published. He just had, in the last year, he's had 1,000 people in on this $199 course he does. That's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
You got to sell a lot of books to generate that kind of,
Absolutely.
hundreds of thousands to generate that kind of royalty.
Yeah, yeah. And the thing is, there's room for everybody. I think that's another thing that keeps many of us behind, is that we feel like there's so much competition and there's only so many slots. There's only so many movie roles if you're an actor. There's only so many spaces on bookstore shelves for writers. But really, again, with the new media, the whole thing is open up, and there is room for everybody now.
Absolutely. I thought through that too when I published my first book. I remember I went to Bodhi Tree bookstore in LA, and yeah, it was great. There were thousands of books there. I remember being totally overwhelmed at the number of books already out. And I literally just walked around the block there, and I thought, oh, what right do I have to publish and write? Look at these thousands of books. And I just thought about it for a minute or two, and I realized, wait, that's thinking very small and fearfully, that whatever I say, whatever you say is totally unique. There's no one that'll say exactly, that'll write exactly what I'll write or what you'll write. It's totally unique. And there's 7 billion people on this planet. There's a whole lot of people out there. And if you put something unique out, you'll find some audience. Yeah. You might have to, I remember Steve Martin, the comedian, he wrote some fiction, short stories, and asked about it. He said, everybody has to find their venue, is the way he put it in his acting terms. You got to find your venue. It might take some work, but there's some audience for your work out there. It might not be a big one, but that's my cat meowing. But it'll be what it will be. There's a ton of people in this world, and so there's great possibilities for your work.
You were talking about Bodhi Tree, which is kind of interesting because you wrote in The Magical Path, you said, I wandered into a little bookstore in Madison, Wisconsin. I don't remember the name of it now, but the entire bookstore was filled with books on magic. And when I entered that bookstore, I entered a new world. And this blew my mind because this was literally the same way I discovered magic, in a little bookstore in Madison, Wisconsin. And who knows, it may have been the same store.
It must have been. Yeah. I'm sure there's only one that it was just all magic books, right? Just all. Yeah. I'm sure it was.
Yeah,
was there?
Because it's a college town, and there's this funky little street with these really cool little shops. And I walked into this store, and I was like, "Oh, I've never seen books like this." And the first one I ever bought was Positive Magic by Marian Weinstein, and it just changed my life.
Yes.
So. Yeah, so now that we've opened that magical doorway, why don't you tell us a little bit about The Magical Path? Because it's what, Harry Potter for adults, is that what you call it?
Yes, it's real magic. Since I was a kid, I was always fascinated with magic, but I wanted real magic. Mm-hmm. I knew like stage magicians and all. It's fake. It's all tricks. And even Harry Potter, I mean, I really, really enjoyed it. But watching the movies with my son, I'd say things like, okay, those broomsticks, what propels those things? How does this work? And he blew me off. He didn't want me to ruin his fantasy. And that's what it is, of course, it's fantasy. And I enjoy Harry Potter, but it's fantasy, literally, that genre of literature. But I wanted real magic. And that's what I found in that bookstore in Madison. The first book I got out of there was called The Art of True Healing by Israel Lagarde. And it changed my life. That I wandered into it right out of college. And I was not healthy because of all that crystal methadone I'd taken. Mm-hmm. And I took that book and started reading it, and it has a meditation called the Middle Pillar Meditation. You imagine healing energy going through your entire body, healing every cell. And I sat down and did that meditation, and I will never forget. I got up out of that chair. I think I was totally healed. I felt 20 pounds lighter. In fact, I almost felt like pure light. I felt the emptiness of our being. I felt space and health. And I think it healed me. And I have been in perfect health ever since, due to that book, The Art of True Healing. And then not only then does it have meditations for health, then there's also meditations to attract things, even like money, to attract. There's meditations to send your work out there in the world. And I started doing these things purely on an imaginary level. And I realized that's the source of real magic. First, we just imagine it. We imagine it clearly. We imagine what we want in life. I've even found things like, if you're struggling with someone, I remember having this major blowout argument with someone one time, and I went to bed, and in fact, he insisted he had to see me that night. He was totally upset with me. And I didn't see him. I said, no. I went to bed instead, and about 3 a.m. I woke up, and I pictured him in my imagination as he was sleeping. And I told him exactly my side of the story. I had this conversation with him. I said, you got to look at it. You got to understand where I'm coming from. You're just seeing it a certain, and I explained the whole thing to him in my mind, 3 a.m. Then I went and saw him the next morning. Well, late morning. I don't do mornings, but and he said, I've been thinking about it. And he had gotten everything. He had gotten it. What I said to him, he totally changed and gotten it. And that's just one little, so many things. Basically, our imagination is where the magic is. It all begins in our imagination. Just imagine what you want. There's nothing to come to believe in it. I never had to make a leap of faith that this stuff works, that affirmations work or anything. No, I just tried it. I just tried it with an open mind. Maybe affirmations work. I think they do. I think when I say in an easy, relaxed manner, healthy and positive way, I think those 4 words have completely affected every cell of my body. And it's obvious to me. It's not something I have to believe, but I just know the words you say and the things you think and imagine have tremendous power. And it all boils down to a total mystery we'll never understand, the mystery of creation. How I can come from absolute poverty, not even having a job or a cent to my name, and create a tremendous abundance now. How did I do that? I did it just by imagining it. I just imagined doing something that went out there and having money flow in unexpected, wonderful ways. Affirming things like, I do wonderful work in a wonderful way with wonderful people for wonderful pay. Those words are powerful and magical and create results.
Right. And the way that I can see that it works is that you're vibing with some pretty cool people. The people that you are now surrounded with, the authors that you work with, you're all on this same level of vibration. So that says a lot about you, that, you're in the same, I don't want to make hierarchy statements, but you get what I'm saying, that that's where you've landed, that you really are in this realm of people who really get it. And there's this great vibe surrounding everything that you do.
Right. And it really has grown. When I think of my staff at first, the first people I hired, we did not know what we were doing. We weren't publishing professionals. We were a bunch of former musicians and this and that workshop junkies. And my first staff, when I look back on it, was pretty lame. Like, I went through several marketing people that really didn't know anything about how to promote a book. And if and I went through some editorial people that brought in some pretty strange things, and it finally, yeah, just keeping that intention of a successful company, it attracted the right people that just came. And now we have a company of great professionals that know what they're doing.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. What, again, well done. Now, you're offering our viewers a special gift. Thank you for that. It's a free 20-minute magical path guided meditation, and it can be
Yes.
found at markallen.com/Lisa. And here's what I love about the meditation. You don't just lead it with positive affirmations. You make a point to lead the listener to actually embody what it feels like to be magically creating what you want. And as far as I'm concerned, that's where the power really lies. It's one thing to think things, but to actually bring it into your isness so that you can express it outward. That's
Yeah.
what this meditation really helps you do.
Yes, yes, yes. From every cell of your body. I did do a bit of study of Kabbalah. I have an ex Jewish brother-in-law that's just totally upset with anybody that talks about Kabbalah. A lot of people are, because he says, well, first you need to study Judaism for 20 years, is what he literally said, and then you study the Torah for 20 years, then you get into Kabbalah for another 20, and then you can talk Kabbalah. And I said, I'm sorry, I'm different. I'm a cultural creative. I use a little bit of this, little spiritual soup. I use whatever tools I feel like using. And there's a beautiful teaching in the Kabbalah that I got from a simple book. Again, it was by Israel Regardie, who did The Art of True Healing. He did another book on the Kabbalah I read years ago. But it explains the mystery of creation, or it tells you how you can be the creator. And it's all about the tree of life. And the tree of life is mirrored in our bodies. Our bodies are the tree of life. The tree of life is upside down. The roots are in heaven, and it grows down. And the whole process of creation starts as this just spiritual impulse. The best things we create are spiritually wonderful and inspired. But basically then it comes down to the denser level of ideas. It just, creation becomes an idea. And then once that idea gets more down into emotion, so if we put the emotion of love behind our idea, then it goes down into the physical realm. And that's all we need, is a focused idea with our love. And what happens? There's all these sephira. Like it all starts with the absolute oneness of the universe. And somehow on a spiritual level, that oneness divides into two. And then it's reflected down into our mind, into thought, and it's one. But then the thought gets divided into two. And that's where we can get off track on our creation of a focused thought and love, because our brains can go to this thought or that thought, or start to have doubts and fears over here, or start to have too many expectations over there. We can lose the focus of our thought in our creative minds. But if we keep focused and keep our heart, and then in emotions too, it can happen. We love our project, we love it, but then something comes up that's frustrating about it, or difficult or challenging, or then we get off track emotionally. So we all create all the time. We create, lunch for ourselves. We create all the time. And that's a simple thought with a pure emotion behind it. But when we go for our dreams, then what happens is either mentally we can get sidetracked, doubts and fears, and emotionally we can get sidetracked. But if we can keep just returning to that focused thought and keep our love behind it, it'll manifest.
Wow. Yeah.
That's real magic.
Yeah. Wow. Well said. Thank you. Wow. Whew. All right. Well, this has been such a fantastic conversation. We're running a little bit low on time here, but before I let you go, I've asked viewers to submit questions for Marc Allen, and,
Oh, good.
and here's one from Curtis, if you don't mind answering.
Oh, I love questions.
Great, great. Curtis wants to know, this is about publishing. He wants to know what aspects of multimedia seem to be taking the publishing industry into its next iteration. And are publishing houses embracing this, or is this still mainly an independent publishing factor?
That's a good question. Yeah, I mean, so many things are happening. Such diversity and so many possibilities. Some publishers are getting pretty hip and doing pretty creative things. Most of the creativity comes from much smaller groups or just individuals or authors on their own that are doing online this and that. There's so many possibilities now. I keep saying, I mean, there's infinite possibilities now. You could spend the rest of your life promoting one book, basically, and not do, and do only a tiny percentage of what you possibly could do. There's so many ways to promote a book now. So what, creative publishers are doing more and more. We have all these meetings now that just focus on what we're doing online and everything. And we really encourage authors to do their thing online, whatever they can do, and however we work together to support it. But yeah, the internet has brought a whole new world to publishing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Marc. There you go, Curtis. Asked and answered. Wow, Marc, it has been, as usual, just an absolute delight talking with you. Before I cut you loose, is there anything else you want to share that we haven't touched on yet? Anything we haven't gotten to?
I think it's been pretty comprehensive. I always like to sum up just saying, I encourage people to dream, dare to dream, and go for it. You'll never regret it. Don't fear failure. That's the biggest thing that hinders people from living the life of their dreams. Every successful person I've known has failed at things. I love to sit down with my successful friends, have dinner and wine, and sometimes we'll get into talking about our failures, telling stories, and over time they're funny. They get really funny. But every successful person has failed. Don't fear failure. You just pick yourself up and keep going, and you'll finally succeed.
Right. All right. Wow. Thank you again so much, Marc. That meditation, once again, can be found at marcallen.com/Lisa. And Marc's web address is Marc Allen. That's Marc with a C, M-A-R-C, Allen with an E, MarcAllen.com. And that's where you can find information about Marc's books and courses and music and all the other groovy stuff that Marc offers. Once again, thank you, Marc, for being here today. This has been so much fun. Thank you.
My pleasure, Lisa. Thank you for your show. It's wonderful. Wonderful. So is your book. I love your novel, by the way. We have to get that out there.
It's out there now. It's available on Amazon with yeah. In fact, I'll send you a copy.
Do send me a copy. And what's the title again? The new title?
The Poppet Master.
Yes, the Poppet Master. Okay, yes. I read it when it was Be Careful What You Wish For.
That's right, yes.
I really liked it, but there was another novel with the same title. But okay.
Yeah, they came out, there's like 4 or 5 now. They came out after I published this. I did my due diligence. I made sure there were no other books with that title, but since then. Anyway, and then you recommended adding a new ending. So there's a whole new...
Oh, good.
So
I have to reread. I loved it. It was really fun.
And that completes part 2 of my interview with Marc Allen. I could have edited out the final minute or so where he was heaping praise upon my new novel, but what kind of fool would I be if I did that? You can find the Poppet Master wherever books are sold, and there's a link to the Amazon listing below. And once again, you can check out Marc's website at marcallen.com. and download that free meditation at marcallen.com/Lisa. Also, don't forget to send in your questions for my upcoming guest, karmic astrologer Marguerite Manning, by Friday, October 4th. and then watch her interview to see if your questions get asked and answered. Next week, my guest will be Shakti mystic Raja Chowdhury, and we're going to talk about the creative power of sound and magic words. You can find information about Marguerite and Raja in the links below. Until next time, see you then. Have a great week, everyone.